This is already here. There's a fight now over who will control it. So let's understand that it's already here, and let's have a debate over where it's going and what's happening with it, instead of my parents going Palantir, 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 yeah, Palantir, 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 and Oracle, 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 and Microsoft, 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 and Amazon, Amazon, Amazon.
Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
When you come to government and what government's doing, there are artificial intelligence tools, and some of them I know that Oracle have developed around financial management for government. But also, tell us a bit about what, because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
How do you take advantage of these incredible AI models? And the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. And in the Middle East, in the UAE, for example, they're incredibly rich in data. They have a lot of population data. The NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link.
Yeah, I'll stop there. It goes on and on. But the point is that one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all together, and in the darkness find them. I'm butchering it, but one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness find them. And they get that, they get everything. I mean, this is a bad situation.
What we're seeing today is what I call turnkey totalitarianism. They are putting in place all of these technological mechanisms for control we've never seen before. It's been the ambition of every totalitarian state from the beginning of mankind to control every aspect of behavior, of conduct, of thought, and to obliterate dissent. None of them have been able to do it. They didn't have the technological capacity. Today, the mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide. Within 5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low-orbit satellites. Bill Gates says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. Digital currency that will allow them to punish us from a distance and cut off our food supply. Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates. It will make you a slave. And what do we do about this? What do? We resist. I'm going to tell you 3 rules that you all need to know and memorize. Number 1, every power that government takes from us, it will never relinquish voluntarily. Number 2, every power they take from us, they will ultimately abuse to the maximum extent possible. Number 3, nobody in history of the planet has ever complied their way out of totalitarian control. Every capitulation is a signal to the oppressors to impose new forms of torment or torture or compliance or obedience. Every time you comply, you get weaker. Bullies cannot be appeased. It just encourages them to new forms of torture and torment. Every time you say yes, you're getting pushed back to a weaker position. That's why we need to resist today.
And this is the ability of the government to say, look, we can track what you buy, we can track when you've had a vaccine, we can track all your data in one place. And basically, if you haven't got up to date on your jabs, you can't buy things, you can't travel, you can't do that central data makes that possible, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, and you can just imagine a future pandemic where we have a lockdown and we'll all be tracked by our phones. Pop down the shop and spend 5 minutes too long outside your house, then you'll be sprung with a fine.
People think that's a joke. It literally happened.
Yeah, exactly. The possibilities for this, and this morning there's a story about the new nationalised rail company wants to use tracking our phones to charge us, as an alternative to buying a ticket. We'd just be tracked on our phones. Well, you've then got a system where you're tracking people around the country all the time. And
what about the argument, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear, Ross?
Even if you've got nothing to hide, you run up to the problem of dealing with this bloody technology. On Friday night, I tried to renew my driving license card, these photo cards.
Yeah.
It's always been fairly easy in the past, but now we've got to download some app to prove your identity.
Oh yeah, I had to do that the other day.
Circles of hell.
Yeah, and again, if it all doesn't work, how does it? You won't be able to access things in your life. This thing about the card, you can lose it, but you can get it replaced. I think the key thing is just the fact that it's going to be something that is going to be updating constantly. We're going to be talking more about that.
The man behind the digital ID push is Larry Ellison, owner of Oracle, CBS, CNN, and soon TikTok. He wants data centralization and total surveillance. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. He's telling you. And then Peter Thiel's like, I want to have a counter to watch the Antichrist. The Antichrist system's coming in. They go, oh, you're the Antichrist because you said we need to be worried about the Antichrist. Does the Antichrist say we need to be worried about the Antichrist? I'm not even defending Peter Thiel. I'm simply saying, why do you only know about Alex Karp and Palantir when the main moves are in Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon? I mean, these are chilling statements by Ellison. He's made more recently. Look at this. You can look this up for yourself. Bill Gates appointed major stakeholder of global digital ID system through the UN with China, creating the standardized system. Here's the UN. Go read it. United Nations Pact for the Future, Global Digital Compact, Declaration of Future Generations. This is a whole plan written by the banksters for total control. So I've read this. You should go look it up for yourself. This is going in. And I'll tell you, Palantir ain't anywhere here. Palantir goes and sells governments, cities, whatever. Oh, we'll help you track for crime and integrate your systems. They all want all the stuff integrated because that's what AI wants. The point is it's the AI. And there's all these systems. But again, why is the public being taught only Palantir? It's because the people already in place are mad at Palantir is just trying to come into the hog trough and get in front of them. Know why you know about it. Use that education to be aware of it all. But Amazon and Oracle, when it comes to general total surveillance, are way ahead. So let's just say Palantir is the devil. It's a junior demon that's aspiring to the position of Satan. And I guess the devil has his own civil wars. They're like, no, you don't get that. I mean, just for the sake of argument. That's what this is about. So no one should want this. It's absolutely horrible. But there's a race. There's an arms race of AI, an arms race of this. So Elon Musk says, well, let's not have a law where there's one AI chosen, which is what the U.S. government, the Chinese, others want. They want one system. They want you banned from it. They want to have armed guards. You can't have your own guns to protect yourself. Same thing here. They want access to all this and make you be in their system and you have no privacy, but you can't use it. So I'm not even saying go there. I'm pragmatically saying that's where we are. How do we make sure this is decentralized? We can't even have that discussion. Because all the influencers in the last 2 years, notice they got pushed by bots if they said Palantir, 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 instead of what is the One Ring? Which one of these groups really will be the one system? Because the fight's over, who is the One Ring? They're forging the ring now. The other rings have been made. Sauron makes all the other rings first, hands them out. Everybody uses them. That gives it power. And then once he can watch them all, then he makes the One Ring. So let's have a larger discussion. Here's Alex Newman does a great job with Glenn Beck explaining this. Here it is.
Tell me about the 50 and 5 plan.
So the UN has partnered with Bill Gates on this, what they call digital public infrastructure. It's a very fancy term. And I think the simplest way to understand it is they're building a giant digital gulag for all of humanity. So the UN Development Program has officially launched this. It was officially launched at the end of last year, where they're going to get 50 governments, they call them countries, but really they mean governments, to impose at least some major element of this digital public infrastructure on their population within 5 years. So 2028. Digital IDs, and those are already emerging. In fact, many states are developing these. I just went through the airport yesterday. You can scan your digital ID QR code, right? So that's happening.
And that's really one of the main reasons for the COVID
absolutely
nonsense.
The architecture that was laid down is the backbone of this global control grid that they're building. So then you've got the central bank digital currencies, which are already being unveiled. Right? They've already been released. The World Economic Forum just said a few days ago 98% of the governments and central banks in the world are working on these CBDCs. Once they're fully operational, I guarantee you they're going to start waging war on cash much more openly. They'll say it's a tool for terrorists and and every nasty thing, tax cheats, everything you can think of. Then you've got the payment processing systems, and you've also got that we just had the head of the World Health Organization talk about this recently, the digital health certificates, the digital vaccine passports. They're taking what the EU developed during the COVID, which, by the way, the European Commission was promoting vaccine passports in May of 2019, long before anybody ever heard of COVID or anything like that. So they're taking all of this together, and they are using it to build a control system that will not just be able to surveil and monitor everything you do on an unprecedented scale. When you combine it with AI, the ability to make sense of all this data, it's just mind-blowing. But also to manipulate what you do. And so they're talking about this, again, pretty openly. If you look at the World Economic Forum meetings, they talk about the benefits of programmable central bank digital currency, where they will be able to say who can buy what, when, under what conditions. And then the Bank for International Settlements, Carol Quigley, to go back to him for a moment, Bill Clinton's mentor, the guy who really exposed this global agenda to create a one-world system, he said the apex of the system was going to be the Bank for International Settlements. This is an institution that's almost entirely unknown to Americans. And what they are working on right now, and this is not a secret, it's not a conspiracy because it's not happening behind closed doors, is what they call a universal blockchain ledger. They want to tokenize every asset in the known universe, every farm, every car, every house, every tree, put it on this ledger, this blockchain ledger, and then you're only able to interact with this blockchain ledger using your biometric digital ID, using your central bank digital currencies. And so if I want to buy something from you, I can't just hand you a $100 bill. I've got to go on my device, connect to this blockchain system, transfer the central bank digital currencies to you. And so this is a mechanism for controlling humanity that I think is really unprecedented in human history. And when you take it all together, it's very obvious.
If you enjoyed today's video,